Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on. We have no choice. We have no choice.
I chose to learn about the Muslim culture because I found myself with a lack of knowledge related to this group. There's been so much coverage of Muslims post 9/11, and I wanted to learn directly from those who identify as Muslim and those who are willing to share their culture for the sake of education. This video will not tear down their culture, but instead will seek to better understand. Today, we'll discuss some basic ideas of culture, dress, food, beliefs, but also deal directly with stereotypes on gender roles, the misconception that all Muslim women are oppressed, the Islamic faith and beliefs, the link to terrorism, and get some great insight on how we may be more alike than some believe. Your name?
Yes, my name is Hannah Jabber.
My name is Kiraz Hassan.
My name is Mahmoud El-Zouka, and I'm from Egypt.
We'll be framing our conversation by using the Iceberg Model of Culture, which was developed by Edward T. Hall. This is very surface level, and then it gets a little more into complexities as you go further down.
There are so many misconceptions about Muslims in the media. I think one of the most prominent ones that affects me is about women. That women in Islam are automatically oppressed, we're submissive, we don't want, or we are not encouraged to seek higher education, and this is absolutely incorrect.
One thing that the news portrays is that, well, I'm a Muslim by religion and then Kurdish by ethnicity. So I would categorize myself as Kurdish American Muslim. One thing that I hear a lot in the news that's completely false or fabricated is that Muslim women, regardless of which country in the Middle East, they focus on the Middle East mostly, even though most Muslims don't come from the Middle East. They come from Indonesia. It's an Asian country. But one thing is that women are not educated and they are suppressed from being educated. So that's completely false.
My culture is not a target or not some kind of interest for the news as my religion. So I think Islam is more of interest for the news than my culture. I think the most prominent thing that jihad and Islam, and this word is misused in the news, like people use it in the news, jihad as killing anybody for any reason. Or maybe for the reason that they are not Muslims, and they are using it over time, which make the people think that jihad is something in Islam which give you the right to kill anybody without feeling bad about this. I think this is the most prominent thing because it's brought up when any incident happen, and also like for oppression for women in Islam, like they always refer to Muslims as a man like me with a beard, and his wife just stay at home and do whatever he wants from her, and like that's her life, or that's all about, and she does not have any right to do anything without his permission. I think these are the most stereotypes in the media about women and about jihad.
Islam is the general religion, so it is the belief that there is one God and that the final messenger of God is the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. The people who follow Islam are then Muslims. So as we have Christianity and there's Christians, Judaism and Jews, we have Islam and Muslims. So just the difference is one is the theology and then the other is the people. And I do think that's I'm very appreciative that you asked that question, because although there doesn't seem to be a direct difference in life, there is a difference between people and the religion that they practice. because they may not be practicing it the right way or actually how it's being told to the people, and so they end up representing a religion completely wrong.
A Muslim is someone who just believes in God and the last messenger. So, for example, like a Christian just believes in Jesus and God. No, we believe a Muslim believes that there is God, and then the last prophet is Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and then all the prophets who came after him, which is Jesus, Moses, Isaac, Noah, etc. And someone who's practicing Islam is not just a Muslim, but he has to follow the 5 pillars of Islam as well as the 6 faiths of Islam. So the 5 pillars would be, first one is believe in God and the last messenger. The second one is praying 5 times a day. The third one is giving an annual mandatory charity, 2.5% to the needy from your assets. Fourth one is fasting, so you fast 30 days during Ramadan. And the fifth one is taking a pilgrimage to Mecca, Saudi Arabia, which is where Islam originated from. It's the holy land of Muslims.
So they should be the same. It's supposed to be the same. To be a Muslim should practice Islam, but the norm that you born for Muslim parents, so you automatically became Muslim, and then you get the name the Muslim. Practicing Islam is one of your choice. Like here in the US, like if you ask most of people here, are you Christian? Yes, I'm Christian, but what do you do related to Christianity? Practicing Islam is something for your choice, because nobody will track how many prayers you have done, how many days you have fasted, or did you pay your charity or no. Nobody knows that, so nobody can tell. I think that's it. Like being a Muslim and practicing Islam is kind of choice and something you're born with, or it's imposed on you. You have the Sunday service, we have the Friday prayer. It's kind of social event. Like everybody in the neighborhood pray at the same place, and after the prayer they hang around and talk to each other. So if somebody missed the Friday prayer, he missed this gathering with the others. So he might find it a good chance to be with the others, to hang around and have some nice discussion.
So in the culture, which I'll make in this statement, it doesn't always reflect the religion. In my culture, like Arab culture, because I am kind of away from that as an American, the gender roles are very clear. Women are expected to typically, especially in the olden days, to have children, stay at home, be a housewife, take care of the children, cook, these types of things. And the man is expected to be the provider. He needs to be the breadwinner. Nowadays, these lines are being blurred, and that's not how I grew up in my culture. My mother is she converted to Islam.
Okay.
My father came here when he was 18, and he is, like, although his culture does have some of those aspects, he is not like that. He's very religious, not cultural. So I didn't grow up like that. My household is not like that. I have 2 parents that work. My mom does not cook. My dad cooks. So in my culture, if I'm truly speaking about my culture right now, the gender roles are not as clear. Just based on the Islamic text, we know that Muslim women have been given a very high status in Islam. They were the first group of people to be really fought for rights when the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, who is the messenger who brought Islam to people, he really talked about women a lot. And so we know that this is a high honor established to women. We are encouraged to seek education. We're encouraged to be a part of political movements. We're encouraged to do essentially anything we want to do, because we're humans at the end of the day.
Both men and women can have equal rights in ending the marriage contract, which I think you don't know this information before, right?
No.
So a woman can end the contract of marriage, but she should, if she really want to end the relationship, she can say that, okay, I give up my rights, and I am telling the judge that I don't need to live with that man. Because in Islam also, women has many rights over men. Like when I get married, I should pay for my women some kind of dowry or some kind of present, but the woman does not have to do this for the man.
Okay.
So the man should give the women at marriage. And when we end the contract, we should have something in the contract. When we end the marriage, I should give her some kind of money to secure her life afterwards.
The gender roles, when it comes to religion and personality and character, we're treated the same. So we are judged and the same by God. But then we do have differences in our genders, just because biologically we are different, physically we are different, emotionally we are different.
Saudi Arabia, women are not allowed to drive. It's by law. But Islam does not say this. Like Saudi women, when they came to the States or came to Egypt, they drive. Why they do not drive? Because it's cultural. Our culture does not allow the woman to drive, but Islam allows the woman to drive. So here comes the difference. So culture might be some kind of tight for the women than the religion.
Hijab is basically a cloth that you wear around your head. It can be transparent. It has to be where your hair cannot show, even though you wear it. It has to be a bit thick. But the meaning of a hijab, what it essentially means is modesty, but not modesty just in the physical aspect of it, but also in the spiritual aspect. So for example, if I'm wearing the hijab currently, I'm identified as someone who's a hijabi, but just because I wear it doesn't mean I don't have responsibilities that come along with it. My hijab is actually my identity, meaning the way I act is my hijab, the way I treat people is my hijab, the way I abide by the law of the land that I live in is my hijab.
It is worn because first and foremost, we believe God commanded us to wear it. And as a Muslim, you want to obey your Lord, you want to please God. But beyond that, the best part for me is that it's a reminder of my spirituality. I read a quote a long time ago that just really stuck with me, is that it's your outer signal of your inner commitment to worship God. And so every day when I put on my scarf, I'm reminded that, not only am I representing all Muslims right now, but I'm also showing God, like, I've just committed to you, and I need to actually complete that action. I need to actually be aware of who I am as a Muslim. Further on, if we talk about a large, in society, it's, like I said, the act of maintaining modesty for the purpose of yourself, and this is not for men. Some people will tell you that, it's not. That is not what Islam ever told women. One of the Prophet's narrations about the hijab was that, I'm gonna misquote it completely, but the general idea was you should wear hijab because that way you will be known as free and respectable women. And this is because in a society where women are objectified, in a society where women are sexualized, we are not given the opportunity to privatize our sexuality and our body. By putting on the hijab, I've just limited what you can see of me. And that is liberating to me. It's very liberating, just as what the Prophet said. So now you have to judge me by what I'm telling you, my character. You can't see my body and you don't get to decide. Like, men who may look at me, I've just blocked off that part from them.
Arab Muslims call God Allah. Arab Christians call God Allah. Arab Jews call God Allah. So Muhammad is the name of the last prophet according to Muslim beliefs. And he does not bring any new religion. He just say that I am one of the many prophets who came before me, and I'm just like every prophet came with a certain message. He came with a certain message, not contradicting with the other previous messages, and he got the revelation of the Quran from his creator, and it might be a new piece of information for you that Quran is a verbal revelation. like it's word by word. It's
Mhm.
not kind of some. We can read Quran word by word. We cannot say that, oh, I think Quran say this in this point. No, it should be word by word.
Taken very literal and
Yes,
very.
and it should be in Arabic. Quran only in Arabic. So when I read Quran in English, it's called translation of Quran in English. It's unlike the Bible, which was kind of like, you know, Bible say this, so you can say it in whatever way you think, because it's translations.
Mhm.
Allah is basically the supreme God of the universe. We don't use a gender for Allah. Allah is just Arabic term for God. He's not begetted nor begotten, so he doesn't have children.
Allah is the word for God in Arabic. Christians who are Arab use it, these types of things. So it's just the word. It's Allah is the creator. He is our Lord. He is. We believe in many traits of God that they're hard to imagine because we don't believe he's separate from his creation. But for example, he has 99 names, and one of the some of them are the most merciful, the most compassionate. So these words that we can understand. Who is God? Well, he is the most merciful. He is the most forgiving, but at the same time the most just. So we have all these understandings of who God is. And then Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, he is the last prophet of Islam, and he delivered the final message of God, which was Islam. And so we believe in all the Abrahamic texts, and the ones that came before Islam we believe were also from God. We do believe in those. We are allowed to read them, study them, take pieces from them and match them with our, these stories match, so that's really, we can study them. And we believe that those texts were also the word of God, and that over time they've been kind of changed, manipulated, whatever. Now, Prophet Muhammad brought the Quran, which is the holy book of Islam. This is the final word of God, and it has not been changed since it's been revealed.
Muhammad is basically God's messenger, so one of God's creation, who sent the message to creations like himself, humanity, that there exists one God. The same thing Jesus did, the same thing Moses did. There is a chapter in the Quran, it's called Chapter Mary. We have our own chapter for Jesus, Chapter Mary, which is the mother of Jesus. Who Jesus is, his mother is Mary. He was born a miraculous birth. He was born from the Virgin Mary. So that means his mother did not have any partners. And we believe Jesus is a messenger and a prophet, and that's it. What a messenger is, there's a difference between a prophet and a messenger. A messenger is a little above a prophet, a tad bit, just because he was given a book. A prophet wasn't given a book, he just spoke. So Jesus is a messenger and a prophet. He got the book of the Bible from God, and he just preached about the oneness of God, that there exists a God and that humans need to stop worshipping idols.
Well, Prophet Muhammad has mentioned Jesus in many points in his life, and might be a piece of information for everybody, that when Prophet Muhammad speaks about Jesus, he said that me and Jesus are like this in the timeline, meaning that the time between me and Jesus is very, very close. In Quran, it says that Jesus was created as Adam was created. Jesus was created by the word of God for only a mother. How come this happened? We believe that is kind of miracle, but Jesus is one of the very high-ranked prophets, and we believe that he has not died till today. We believe that Muhammad, our prophet, have died and he is buried, and we know where he is buried. We know that, and we know that Prophet Muhammad cannot do anything for us right now, and Jesus also cannot do anything for us right now. We believe only God can do anything or affect our lives, but we believe that Jesus has not died and is living in the upper heavens.
And that. So we do believe that Mary was born, she was dedicated to her religion, a very pious person, somebody that Muslim women aspire to be. We believe that Mary was the top, the best of the women. She is the best of the best. And she was blessed with a prophet. She had never been touched by a man. She was very confused. She gave birth to Jesus, and he did do miracles, like curing the lepers, talking as a baby. That was like the first miracle, other than obviously the Immaculate Conception, and these types of things. So he is a huge prophet in our religion. He is mentioned a bunch of times in the Quran. A whole chapter is dedicated to not only his family, but then also to Mary. So there's a chapter about Mary, and there's a chapter about, it's called the family of Imran, which is the family that descends into Jesus. Mm-hmm. So he's a big part of our religion.
I believe that he is the Messiah, and we respect him as a messenger, just like we respect Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. And he was a messenger as well, because he got the Quran. And that's it. Like, if we disrespect Jesus, we are disconnected from Islam. We cannot disrespect Jesus or any of the messengers that Christians and Jews believe.
And I do understand that there are a lot of Muslims who will identify as Muslims that do not represent Islam well. And that's so unfortunate, and that's not okay. Like, they shouldn't be representing Islam. But at the same time, why is Islam the only religion that those people are attached to their religion? When you have people like the KKK who we don't like, and it shouldn't be that way. We should not represent the KKK as all Christians or whatever, Westboro Baptist Church, I think I'm saying that correctly. That's a pretty extreme mentality. We don't represent that with Christianity, and we shouldn't. Same as we shouldn't do this with these acts of terrorism. Terrorism has no place in Islam. It never has. It never will. Islam makes it clear that if you are acting in this way, you will not have God's mercy. This is not something that God condones. He does not accept this. It's a prominent aspect in our religion to be kind, to be merciful.
So I feel, of course, bad for the people who think of Muslims as being a terrorist. And if I'm not terrorist and I'm Muslim, that means that I'm not sticking to Islam, or I'm not following the real Islam. Mm-hmm. Which makes no sense. Like, if I'm killing everybody, so who will be the Muslim then? Like how Islam began? Like, Islam began with an idea or a call for a religion, and people accept it. So if I kill everybody who is potential Muslim, like, there will be no Muslims anymore.
Mm-hmm. For example, Jesus, he's portrayed as someone who's white, but he's not. He came from the Middle East. Jesus is a Middle Eastern man. That's number one. Number two, we as humans, well, not just as humans, we as different religions all have our own extremists. For example, in Christianity, we have the KKK. KKK has done a lot of things in the name of Christianity. But does that mean that they represent all Christians? No. The same thing in Islam. We have some extremists that like to do things and use Islam as a tool. But politically speaking, the most people that are being inflicted by them are Muslims. The most people that are being killed by them are Muslims. So when you have extremists killing their own, how are they representing the religion?
And because they've been attached to the religion and given that identity, the religion now looks as the people are presenting it, which is not the case often with Islam. It is so difficult to be a Muslim in America. Our values do not align with that. It is so difficult to be a different ethnicity in America. You have to assimilate. And so you have all these conflicting things, and then you hear somebody say, well, all Muslims should be identified by this because we need to make sure that we know if they're Muslim. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, you already know I'm a Muslim, and you already treat me the way you perceive me.
A gentleman, he was older though, maybe in his 50s, 60s, he came up to me and said, in this country, you're not supposed to wear that. You're free in this country. And I told him, I was like, but I made the choice to wear it. And he didn't believe me. And so I kind of went back and I realized he was a Christian man. So what I said, do you believe in Jesus? He was very excited about it. He goes, yeah. I said, okay, well, what did Jesus' mom wear? And he just kept quiet and walked away from me.
Egyptian, in Egypt, we speak Arabic. So my mother tongue is the language of Quran, and jihad is an Arabic word, mean that to struggle, to do something really hard. So when you force yourself to get up early, this is called jihad. When you force yourself to study hard and do some achievement, this is called jihad. When you struggle yourself and make it away from the bad stuff, this is called jihad. When you fight an enemy for a good reason, this is called jihad. So people take only fighting the enemy and call it jihad, and not only fighting the enemy, to killing the other people for no reason and call it jihad. But that make me feel bad because I'm here in the US doing jihad in my science. It's not easy, of course, to do a PhD and stay all of those nights studying something. Might not make any reason for anybody, but I consider this jihad. I know what I'm doing with this science afterwards when I go back to Egypt, and this considered jihad, and I'm very sure that my creator will reward me for this. I'm not wasting my time. So this is the only thing I need people to know about jihad. Jihad means that to struggle yourself to do something really hard.
I think my final thing would be, if you have any questions about Islam, ask a Muslim.
I would just say that if anyone ever has a question about Islam or Muslims, and or you see something in the news that just seems so like, how could a religion condone that? I really suggest reaching out to a Muslim, a trusted Muslim, that can talk to you about it, because like we talked about, breaking down those stereotypes is the key to, like, it's just, communication will impact us so that you don't have to be afraid of us, and you can interact with us, and it will be better for everyone.
America really spend all of this money which they spend on the campaigns, on your economy here. You should be there in the Mars. You should have people on Mars right now.
Yes.
If you spend all of this money on your research, but you are really doing great in spending money on research and doing technological stuff. You are really good at this point. But if you spend all of this money, like
For the good of people. That's what I always
for the
say.
good of people, yes. And instead of sending troops to this place or that place, if you spend this money here on research and science, you might invent something which made us don't need any oil or anything, and make everybody happy. And that's our hope.
And it's my hope that you've learned more about the Muslim and Islamic culture. While all of the beliefs may not directly align with yours, it's important to consider that we are all people first. And through having a better understanding of other cultures and people, we ourselves become a better representative of ourselves. We learn to appreciate diversity, and we understand that we might have more in common with those who are different from us than we might think. For additional information, check out islamreligion.com, islam101.com, and aboutjihad.com. That's about, JIHAD.com.